But what is the best way to sell big government and then world government to a people like ours, historically devoted to an independent republic of limited powers? The answer is simple. In revolutionary literature, the tactic is known as pressure from above and below. It's the strategy that Colonel House laid down in his book, Philip Drew, Administrator. Deliberately create problems, and then offer only those solutions that result in the expansion of government. Create conditions so frightful at home and abroad that the abandonment of personal liberties and national sovereignty will appear as a reasonable price for a return to domestic tranquility and world peace. If those who seek world dominion can stimulate leftist mobs into violent confrontation with local law enforcement, and also provide exhaustive news coverage so that the entire nation can see and tremble, then the peaceful and freedom-loving majority can be programmed to accept a vast expansion of government powers and even a national police force, offered supposedly to end the violence. If those who seek world dominion can raise the specter of an enemy armed to the teeth with superior atomic weapons on the verge of launching a nuclear holocaust, and also offer world government as the prevention, then millions of Americans can be programmed to accept the loss of national sovereignty as our last best hope for peace. This is the meaning of pressure from above and below. To put over police-state measures at home, they need chaos, crime, and anarchy in the streets. To sell the idea of world government, they need the constant threat of nuclear war. Or, as they say in revolutionary circles, the real action is in the reaction. In 1968, Random House Incorporated published this book by James Coonan, The Strawberry Statement, Notes of a College Revolutionary. Coonan carries the usual New Left credentials, and is a classic example of the extent to which a highly intelligent mind can be programmed by the establishment into thinking that it is acting against the establishment. Coonan was one of the leading participants in the first student seizure of an American university, which occurred at Columbia in April of 1968. Initially, the movement was not large, and easily could have been stopped by a simple police action. But as usual, the anti-establishment forces received their greatest help from the establishment itself. For several days, police were told not to interfere. Meanwhile, university officials groveled in the face of outrageous propaganda charges, and the media made national heroes of the rebelling students. MGM even made a movie out of Coonan's book. On page 130, Coonan wrote, "In the evening I went up to the U to check out a strategy meeting. A kid was giving a report on the SDS convention. He said that at the convention, men from Business International roundtables, the meeting sponsored by Business International for their client groups and heads of government, tried to buy up a few radicals. They offered to finance our demonstrations in Chicago. We were also offered ESSO, or Rockefeller money. They want us to make a lot of radical commotion so they can look more in the center as they move to the left." Jerry Kirk, while a student at the University of Chicago, was active in the SDS, the Du Bois Club, the Black Panthers, and the Communist Party. In 1969, Mr. Kirk broke from the party, and the following year testified before the House and Senate Internal Security Committees. Here is what Mr. Kirk has told us. "Young people have no conception of the conspiracy strategy of pressure from above and pressure from below. They have no idea that they're playing into the hands of the establishment they claim to hate. The radicals think they're fighting the forces of the super-rich, like Rockefeller and Ford, and don't realize that it is precisely such forces which are behind their own revolution, financing it, and using it for their own purposes." When Stokely Carmichael was head of the militant revolutionary group known as SNCC, he was invited to speak at the University of Chicago. Jerry Kirk, then still a Black Panther, was among those who attended, and here is how he described Carmichael's appearance. Mr. Carmichael was obviously in the middle of something rather important, which made him more nervous and more tense than in the past. He started speaking of things which he said he could not have said before because his research was not finished. He spoke of the false consciousness of many blacks who believed the Jews were the instrument of oppression of blacks. And he made note of the fact that even though many Jewish people, for example in New York, own quite a bit of land, one must understand that the overwhelming percentages of mortgages in Harlem was owned not by Jewish people, but by Morgan Guarantee Trust, the Morgan family, and Chase Manhattan Bank, the Rockefellers. He repeated the line from the song he liked so well. "Something is happening here, but you don't know quite what it is, do you, Mr. Jones?" What he was getting at was that the Jews were simply one strata of society who are themselves being oppressed by people who were much richer and much more powerful. In the agencies of this power, he cited banks, the chief among which were Morgan Guarantee Trust and Chase Manhattan, and the foundations connected with these monoliths. It was not long after this that Stokely Carmichael mysteriously was ousted from both SNCC and the Black Panthers. Apparently, he had learned too much. More and more young radicals are beginning to wake up to the fact that their entire lives have been carefully programmed by the very people who are their hate symbols. They're beginning to realize that their so-called anti-establishment outlook actually is the calculated product of the establishment press, the establishment communications media, the establishment entertainment industry, the establishment schools. Rich men's corporations publish and popularize revolutionary books and songs. Through advertising, rich men's businesses subsidize revolutionary magazines. Rich men's tax-exempt foundations pour millions of dollars into left-wing organizations. The federal establishment in Washington, through agencies like the OEO, provide weekly paychecks to thousands of hardcore revolutionaries. And so we return again to the basic question, why? Why does the establishment publicly condemn but privately support the anti-establishment movement? Former communist Jerry Kirk answers, "The idea is to create a situation where the people are so frightened of the violence all around them that they will throw their hands up in the air and demand, 'Federal government, do something.' And the only choice open will be martial law. The communists, black militants, and revolutionaries will never succeed in overthrowing the government of the United States. But unless they are stopped, they will scare the American people into accepting socialism from Washington and statist rule by the insiders of the establishment. This is what it is really all about."
So, shalom. As always, first I want to give the praises and the glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakakdash, Yahweh is the name of the Most High God. Yahushai is the name of the Son, who the world ignorant calls Jesus Christ. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect brothers and sisters. So I just want to do a quick video on this. Esau's Hegelian Dialectic. Pressure from above, pressure from below. Now, I was listening to the apostles yesterday. They was doing a live stream ministry on the highways and hedges, as always. And it actually came up as part of their edification. And they was preaching yesterday and prophesying yesterday on the highways and hedges. Apostle Gabar and Apostle Tahar and Bishop, I forget his name now, it's gone from me. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. It will come back to me. So anyway, so they was out there teaching, and this actually came up, this particular subject came up, pressure from above, pressure from below. And I've always known about it, but I didn't know that it was called the Hegelian Dialectic. And Apostle Gabar was the one that actually said that, I believe, from my memory. He said it's called the Hegelian Dialectic. Now, I've always understood and knew about the idea of pressure from above, pressure from below. I always refer to it as both sides of the coin. That way, Esau controls both sides of the coin, And it's funny because the apostles always talk about these controlled entities, especially the movements within the black community, from the Black Panthers to Black Lives Matters, the civil rights movements, to the NAACP. Apostle Gabar always speaks about these are all control. He's always mentioned and spoke about these are being controlled entities, basically, controlled by the establishment. They believe they're anti-establishment. They believe they're against that. All of these so-called pressure groups are controlled by the establishment, and they're created and they're supported and they're financed and funded by the establishment, because the idea, as I've always referred to it myself, is controlling both sides of the coin: pressure from above, pressure from below, basically. But I never knew that this term was referred to it was actually comes from the term, the Hegelian dialectic, basically, which kind of goes back to, I think what the guy's name was, something Hegel. He was a professor, something, I think his name was Hegel, because that's where the name comes from, basically. And it kind of even goes all the way back to the times of the Greeks as well, back to the times of the Greeks and the Romans, Plato and those guys, But yeah, I believe he was a German philosopher, and his name was Hegel, Hegel, something like that. Something Hegel. I'm not sure what his first name was. But anyway, so it's a tactic where, as I said, it's the idea of controlling, but it's a concept of controlling both sides. Right. So you think you've got some type of anti-establishment group that you're coming up against the establishment, against the elites, when you're actually being funded and controlled by them, and they're the actual ones that create and infiltrate those groups and put in their agent provocateurs to make sure that they are directing how they want this group to progress in terms of the things that they're doing. This is why when we speak about joining protest and this and that, these are all controlled entities that they will finally get their hooks into these organizations to control them. But this is what the elites do. They don't allow these entities just to exist by themselves. And once they start springing up, it's like a flower, when they start seeing the first roots or the first buds of the flower, they get in there with their pesticide, to control how that flower grows, and their clippers and that. So they get in there with their people, and they take fully control of it, and they make you believe that you're fighting for some righteous cause when you're not. The only thing you're doing is exactly what the controlled opposition wants you to do. It goes back to the title of this video: Esau's Hegelian dialectic. Pressure from above, pressure from below. Esau's a master of that, controlling both sides, divide and rule. This is his blueprint. This is the devil's blueprint, to control both sides and to divide and rule. This is how he operates. And like the guy was saying in the short video that we played, it's not the middleman, the small man. These are minions that are just being used as part of their as part of their rule, as part of their taking control. The middlemen, the middle managers, senior management, they're just the people that are actually part of these organizations working for these elites. They're just doing their job. They're just they don't even know the full picture of what the elites and the super elites are actually planning. They're just in there getting a salary, doing what they're told, and they're enjoying what they're doing, because a lot of them are fighting for the cause of these elites, but they don't know how deep the plans are of these elites and the bankers, because it ultimately goes back to the bankers. It's like what the guy was saying. You've got the Rockefellers, you've got the you've got the 13 Illuminati families, from the Rockefellers, the Oppenheimers. Trying to think what the rest of the names are. There was a come and go. The Oppenheimers, the Morgan Stanley, the other ones. You've got the Oppenheimers, the Morgan Stanley family, the Rockefellers. You've got the and I was thinking about all of these. Families earlier today. Funny enough, before I was actually going to do this video. But anyway, these are the families. These are the Illuminati families that rule the world. All right. And these are the people, and the Rothschilds. That's the main one. I was trying to remember, right? The Rothschilds, they're the top family. They're the ones that control everything. They sit at the top of the table. Is the Rothschild. So let's just bring out some scriptures anyway. So, like I said, they control both sides of the coin. These are not no. This is not nothing new to us, should I say? I want to go to the book of Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 10. That's why when it talks about the secret counsel of the wicked in Psalm 64, this is what it's talking about: the bankers, the elites, the ones at the top of the table, not the ones that you see, out there, faces to the public. It's the ones behind the scenes, the one that controls the money system, the financial system, the monetary systems around the world, and the governments and the shadow governments, which ultimately are the banking families, basically. Hold on, let me just switch the screen over. 1 second. Family. All right, let's just switch it over. So let me just bring out a few precepts here. So we're going to start in the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 10. And this is why this is all getting ready to take place, right? This what we're reading out here. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 8. Because of the unrighteous dealings, right, of these banking families, the elites, the super elites, right, that controls everything. These are the main people that are pushing this new world order, this globalist idea of this global world order. These are the people that are looking for this to take place. But these are the people that are going to create this chaos. This is why when we talk about Jacob's trouble, Jacob's trouble is going to be in the heart of this chaos that these banking families, these elites and super elites are looking to create. They're going to create a time of total chaos upon this planet Earth, which is going to lead us up into the war of Armageddon. And as we've always spoken about, the microchip, and these are going to be the parts of Jacob's trouble that's going to be devastating for the children of Israel. All right. And this is what it says there: because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, because that's what they totally live by, deceit, these elites. The kingdom is translated from one people to another. So everything that they're going to do is going to be the fulfillment of prophecy. And it's going to lead us ultimately to this stage here, where the kingdom translated from one people, from the Edomites, to another, to the Israelites. We're going to rule over these nations. The kingdom of heaven is going to be established when this takes place, because of their unrighteous dealings, their injuries, the riches that they've got by deceit. And this is why the scripture, also speaks about Ecclesiasticus chapter 12. When you know who your enemy is, because we know who our enemy is. Our number one enemy is these Edomites, and that's why the scripture tells you this. It's quite clear in what it's telling the children of Israel. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. All right. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. We've got to beware of our enemies, which are these Edomites. And like I said, our greatest enemy are the elites of these Edomites, because they know who we are. They know that we are the true children of Israel. They know that those people that call themselves Ish people are not the children of Israel. They're the children of Esau. So they're going to try everything to stop. They're going to try everything to stop this from happening. The kingdom being translated from one people to another. They're going to try everything in their power to stop their kingdom being translated from the Edomites over to the Israelites. And part of what they're going to be doing is this new world order, this one world order, this globalist, this digital system, and eventually leading us into the war of Armageddon. They're going to try everything they can to stop the translation of their kingdom, because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The wicked are the Edomites, the so-called white man. They rule the world. They rule the roost. There's no ifs, buts, or maybe. So they're going to try everything they can. But this last scripture says, though he humble himself all right, and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. Never. Go back to Genesis 27, I believe, where it speaks about the blessings that Esau's always said that, you know, he's always been in his heart, right? That wickedness has never left him. That hatred that he's had for his brother. I think it's Genesis 27. This is with Esau even to this day. Jacob's deception, stolen blessing, and this is when he says this. Let's quickly go straight to the point. And the Lord said to Esau, and Isaac says to Esau, and by thy sword thou shalt live, and shall serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou have the dominion, he has the dominion now, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. This is Esau's dominion now. This is his kingdom that we're living under. All right. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessings wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And that's always been in Esau's heart, to slay his brother Jacob. And we are Esau's brother. We are the so-called white man's brother, all right? Paternal twins. We are his brother. Same mother, same father. We go back to the same ancestral mother and father. And this is why it says here, though he humble himself, these Edomites, always trying to play like they're the good guys, they're the saviors, we're going to do this, do that, we're going to help you with this, help you. These guys are the wicked. This is all orchestrated from the very top of these Edomites, and they use the masses of their own people to push out their plans, and even they don't really know the full plans. So your average John and Jane Doe Edomite don't really know the full plan of their masters, which are the elites and the super elites, the bankers of Esau. All right. So it says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. Why? Because Esau said this, right? The days of mourning for my father are in my hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. All right. So we got to keep both eyes on this man at all times. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. And we know that. We know that not just by scripture. We know that by this man's actions. We know that for certain. All right. Ecclesiasticus chapter. But his ultimate plan is this new world order that he's looking to bring in. 23. Hold on. Verse. It says, a man that break his wedlock, saying thus in his heart, who sees me? That's Esau. He says in his heart, who sees me? Right? He says, I am compassed about with darkness. The walls cover me, and nobody sees me. This is what these elites and these bankers think. They say, no one sees me. I'm covered with darkness. They've got everything to protect themselves. They control, like I said, they control both sides of the coin. Pressure from above, pressure from below. This is what they do. And then they say, I am compassed about with darkness. The walls cover me. No man sees, and nobody sees me. What need I to fear? And that's Esau. This is Esau in his entirety. He doesn't believe he's got to fear anything. He says, the Most High will not remember my sins. All right. And the Most High sees everything. How do we know that? Go to the next verse. It says, such a man only fears the eyes of men. What man is that? The only person that thinks like that, truly, nation that truly thinks like that, are these Edomites. This is why they commit so much wickedness, so much bloodshed. This is why they do anything they need to do to get what they want, basically. This is why, you know, when you look at these elites and these bankers and the Illuminati and these secret societies, they don't care how much bloodshed they have to shed, how much people they have to kill. murder, pillage, and rape to get what they want. They don't care because they only fear the eyes of men. These are the Edomites. This is probably the only nation that thinks like that 24/7. He says, such a man only fears the eyes of men and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are what? 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts. So the Most High sees all of this. He sees all the secret parts of Esau, right? If we go to Psalms, this is what Esau thinks, right? Psalm 64. He sees all the secret parts of men, but this is what he thinks. They encourage themselves in an evil matter, the Edomites. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? What was we reading just here? Such a man only fears the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts. All right? Whereas Esau says, who shall see them? This is how he thinks. They search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep, the mind is deep of these Edomites. But God shall what? Shoot at them with an arrow, which is this word, this truth, the scriptures. And then ultimately it's going to be the missiles, but it is the scriptures, right? Spiritual war that we're fighting. Suddenly shall they be wounded. And this is how we're wounding them, by revealing them to you, who these people are according to the Bible. Who are these people that have amassed all the riches of the world, that control the world? How did they get to do it? And who are these people truly? Because there's no such thing as white people. White is a color. Just like there's no such thing as black people. Black is a color. Who are they? They're the Edomites. They're the Edomites. They are the descendants of Esau. We are the descendants of Jacob. Esau hated Jacob because of the blessings. That's who they are. So let's grab another precept. Ecclesiasticus 25, I want. Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, verse 7. There be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that has joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. And that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting to see the fall of this devil. All right? We are waiting to see the fall of this devil, our enemy, our number one enemy. Ecclesiasticus chapter 33. There's a few in here that I was thinking of. I wrote these down, these few. It says here. It says, and all men are from the ground, and Adam was created of the earth. All right? We can all agree on that. In much knowledge, the Lord has divided them and made their ways diverse. He's divided man. We can go back to Deuteronomy, tells you that as well. All right. Some of them has he blessed and exalted some of them, and some of them has he blessed and exalted, and some of them he sanctified. All right. And set near himself. So we are the people that he sanctified and set near himself, because we are the ones that received the blessing from Isaac. All right. When the Lord where is it? Is it? It says here, and his father Isaac said unto him, come near now and kiss me, my son. Talking about Jacob. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment and blessed him and said, see, the smell of my son is as the smell of the field which Yahweh has blessed. Therefore, the powers give thee of the dews of the heavens and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. Let the people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curses thee and blessed be he that blesses thee. All right. And it came to pass as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from the hunting. All right. So we are the ones that were sanctified near the Most High. Right. That blessing came through Isaac, our father, our forefather, goes back to Abraham. All right. So when it says here, and some of them he has sanctified and set near himself, those are the children of Israel. But some of them has he cursed and brought low and turned out of their places. All right. So the main nation that's cursed is these Edomites. All right. This is why they don't have no melanin in their skin. They are a cursed nation of people. All right. But the world was given into their hands. They are the wicked that the Bible speaks of. It says, as the clay is in the potter's hand to fashion it at his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him to render to them as likest him best. All right. So he decides, the Lord. Good is set against evil. Jacob against Esau. Good is set against evil. Jacob against Esau. I can't say this enough. Life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another. And that's what's happened. Jacob is against Esau. Esau is against Jacob, right? They are adversaries of each other. Like the Lord said, he hates Esau, but he loves Jacob. The Lord made that clear, right? Esau have I hated, but Jacob have I loved. Is it Malachi chapter 1, verse 3? It says here, we start at the top. It says, the burden of the word of the Lord, which is Yahweh, is to Israel by Malachi the prophet. All right. I have loved you, says Yahweh. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Says Yahweh. Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. So the Lord hates Esau. All right. Let's go to the book of Maccabees. Now this is Esau's ultimate plan. It's nothing new. It goes all the way back to the Antiochus, right? And we're probably going to finish it here. This is what this all new global world order is about. They're trying to they're still trying to implement this one world order. We're going to start. Hold on. Where is it? Isn't past it? Yeah. Start here. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 41. So this new world order, global world order, is nothing new. It goes all the way back to Antiochus, right? It says moreover, King. Before I even go there, let's quickly just go back to verse to show you where they came into play, Antiochus, right? We'll read a few verses from here, then we're going to go back to verse 41. We're going to jump to verse 41. It says, First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 7. So Alexander, which is Alexander the Great, reigned 12 years and then died, right? And his servants bare rule everyone in his place. Those were his generals, right? Lassamaeus, Lassamaeus, Seleucus, Ptolemy, and who's the other one? Lassamaeus, Seleucus, Ptolemy, and I forget the other general's name. There's 4 generals that he had. It was Lassamaeus, Seleucus, Ptolemy. There was another general that Alexander, I can't think what his name was. See it? What's his name? No, they called them the Diadoches. The Diadoches is what they called those generals. It was like a Greek name for them. Cassander, that's it, Cassander. He divided his kingdom between Ptolemy, Lacenaeus, Seleucus, and Cassander. And I think Antigonus is the same person as Lacenaeus. Not the same person, but I think they shared the same kingdom. Because you read it, it will say also Ptolemy, Cassander, Seleucus, and Antigonus. But the two famous ones were the Ptolemies and the Seleucid Empire. And Antiochus comes from the Seleucid Empire, right? If my memory plagues me right. It says, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, the four generals, right? Which were, they were the four generals that put the crowns upon their heads. Antigonus, Greece, Antigonus, Lacenaeus, Seleucus, and Cassander. Ptolemy, Seleucus, Antigonus, and Cassander. Why do I say Lacenaeus? Because Lacenaeus is, I believe, was one of the, for a small period of time, I believe those were the four. Those were the four. Lacenaeus, Cassander, Ptolemy, Seleucus. I think Antigonus or Lacenaeus took over Antigonus's part of the empire, basically, or they shared the same part of the empire. But I always remember it as being Ptolemy, Cassander, Lacenaeus, and Seleucus, which are the four generals of Alexandria. And these are the generals that put the four crowns upon their heads, right? And that's why it says, so did their sons after them, and many years, leading us to Antiochus. And evils were multiplied in the earth. So when Esau came up into power, evils were multiplied in the earth. This is why we are where we are today. All right. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, should be Antiochus the Great, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. Right. So if we jump from there to verse 40, where was we? Verse 40 or 41, hold on. I got verse 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. All should be one people, all right? And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. So when he says all should be one people, go back here. This is the first sign of them building the New World Order back in the ancient world under Antiochus the Great. And this is what they're trying to do today. They're trying to establish this all should be one people, one God, one belief, one system. And it's all going to be demonic, satanic, wicked, immoral. You know, it's going to be a dark day for them to establish this. And this is why the Lord says in the book of Job, is it Job 20 or Job 18? That's what the Lord says. Job 20. Job 20, 20 to Job 20. He's down here. Yeah, we'll go straight to the point. We'll finish here. This is why the prophet Job says here, all right? In the spirit, Job says this, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, right? Straits, it means in difficulties. Every hand of the wicked, that word wicked there in the Hebrew means laborer, right? It's not actually talking about the actual wicked. It's talking about like the worker, the blue collar, the white collar worker. Every hand of the worker, right? The wicked shall come upon him, right? That's going to be the uproars of the people. When he is about to fill his belly, one world order, this is what he's trying to establish, that all should be one people. The New World Order globally is trying to establish what Antiochus first tried back in the days of the Greeks' rulership. It says, when he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh, The Most High, the powers, shall cast a fear of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. While he is eating. All right. He shall what? He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through, which is ultimately the nuclear weapons, the nuclear missiles, ICBMs, because ultimately that's when it's going to all take place. When he's about to fill his belly, we're going to go into this. We're in World War III already, but it's going to escalate at some point to a nuclear war. That's when the chariots and the angels are going to appear to deliver the elect from Babylon the Great, and that's when this man is going to finally go down. All right, but always remember, before the iron weapon, which is the nuclear missiles, and the bow of steel is fired, the mark of the beast, the microchip, must be in play. The mark of the beast must be in play. So that's one of the greatest indicators that once that's in play, then that's it. There's the only things left to come is the war to go from the conventional, what is right now. Because right now, America's fighting a conventional war. World War III is conventional against its allies. NATO and America fighting a conventional war against its major allies: Russia, the Iranians, the Lebanese, Hezbollah, the Chinese. They're fighting a conventional war. So we are in World War III because they're fighting on all fronts. They're fighting the Chinese against the Taiwanese. They're arming the Taiwanese to defend themselves against the Chinese. NATO is arming the Ukrainians to defend themselves against the Russians. America and Britain are arming the Israelis to defend themselves against the Israelis and the Hezbollah, the Houthis from Yemen and the rest of the Arab nations. So we're in a world war, but it's just not gone to nuclear. It won't go to nuclear until the mark of the beast microchip comes to play. But this is what this man is looking to get. The same thing, that all should be one people. So anyway, I'm going to finish it there. I just kind of wanted to just bring that out, boy. Esau's Hegelian dialectic, pressure from above, pressure from below. He's controlling both sides of the coin, both sides of the argument. He's controlling the established and the anti-establishment, because that's what he does. He controls and he divides and he rules. That's what this man, this plan of him controlling both sides, is nothing new. But it's the reason why I wanted to speak on this today, because I heard the apostles, Apostle Gabar and Apostle Tahar, speaking about it, and Bishop speaking about it yesterday on the highways and hedges, and it was like, you know what, let me do a video on that tomorrow and speak a little bit about that, because I always knew about the pressure from above, pressure from below, but I never knew it was called the Hegelian dialectic, and now I do. So I pray you're edified. As always, shalom, shalom, shalom.